Thanks. Thanks for coming. My name is Klaus. I've been with Horizon News for quite some time. I've been doing Sitecore for so long. You couldn't imagine. And now, management bought this new startup. They think they're doing brand new stuff. So I promised Push, come on stage, Push. I promised Push that I need to tell him how we do things here at Horizon News. Because doing Sitecore the real way, that takes some effort. So Push, I'll just quickly go through what we do here. Have you worked with Sitecore XP, you know, the real stuff before? You haven't?
No.
Okay. It's going to be a long one. You don't need the break afterwards, right? So when we do Sitecore, we of course run everything in our huge Azure tenant. We have front door. We have Nginx as a load balancer on it. Then we have our delivery nodes where the traffic is coming. We normally run with 16 cores, but depends of course on traffic. We need to scale and so on. We have our content management service for the editors. We have the identity, IDP, reporting, Redis. We have our processing jobs. Yeah, I can see. Now you get the point, right? That's how we do things here. Our Elastics for log monitoring, our search stacks for the indexing for actually getting a performant website and give the experience. And then we have our DevOps setup. I'll probably have to spend, we do that another day. It will take a little while to get that done. But so I'm a little bit interested in management told me that you guys were doing, they were saying Sitecore, but you said you hadn't worked with Sitecore. What are you guys doing?
Yeah, before I get on to that, but why are there so many boxes here? I mean,
what do you mean?
Yeah, there are so many components here. There is this CD, and then there is this, lots of components, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, so, doing enterprise Sitecore is difficult, my friend. You will learn.
Yeah, we'll see who learns what. So this is the Sitecore which I use, and this is the Sitecore which I know, and this is the Sitecore which I propose. That's the XM Cloud architecture. And now you see, right, less boxes, meaning less components. But still, you can provide the same functionality, feature, and you can expand the same. And whatever the modern frameworks and the tools which we have can be included over here.
What, modern?
Yeah, modern.
Okay.
Headless, and whatever the other part that comes there.
Headless, no brains.
Okay, so with XM Cloud, the bottommost part, the one which there in the blue dotted line, it's what we call it as the XM Cloud, and where we have the entire Sitecore hosted on a SaaS and centrally hosted, and it's over SaaS. So it comes up with additional components, the pages, components, and built-in CI/CD. I mean, their own automated way of doing the CI/CD, and our own way of. At the same time, it comes with the traditional XMXP modules, meaning the ones which we use, we loved using, the PowerShells and the workbox and the same data item templates.
So you're saying I can still use my PowerShell?
Yeah.
Nice.
That would definitely save more time, right? Like, who would even remove that? And then we'll have the whatever the cloud instance which we have, the central hosted and the scaling part, whatever we do, and then we'll be publishing the content to the Experience Edge, the Edge framework. That from there, with all their stuff, will be the data will be fed to the static site hosting, the Next.js, which is our headless and the front end part. It's just an intro kind of stuff. We'll be getting into each and every single one over here in this section.
Okay, that sounds a little bit strange.
And yeah.
Where's your CD servers? Where's your CD servers?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't see you had like lots of boxes over there for the CD, the get check-ins. It comes in out of the box with an integrated, the check-ins, the CI/CD, the deploys, and those stuffs. Once it comes out of the box. It's easy to integrate. It's just plug and play kind of thing. And of course, there is no one module that's going to fit in all the requirements. So there is an option where you can extend that if you wish to for your specific needs.
Okay, hang on. Give me a second. It was the CMO just sending me a text.
Oh, okay.
They're running a campaign tomorrow.
Okay, that's cool. That's good. That's nice.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You know what we need to do now?
Yeah.
They expect 1 million visitors tomorrow.
Okay.
So, when it's not the first time, we have this calculation for how we best do our stuff. Our normal users a day are 40,000, so we need to actually scale to 1 million users a day. Do you know how that computes? We use this algorithm. We have most of the traffic between 4 in the afternoon and 11 at evening. So we actually, through my calculations, we normally run with 16 cores on the platform, which gives us decent time to deliver all the pages. But now I at least need 30 cores up by tomorrow. They're running this tomorrow.
Okay.
You look too calm.
Yeah, I just...
And you going to fix that?
Yeah, it's already fixed.
It's all... Saying what?
It's already fixed. I just pinged the person over there to the edge hosting provider, and then I told them that we would be needing to scale this up, and it's done. It can be done. I mean...
But you need engineers, and you need machines, and do you have them in stock? Or
No, it's not required. That's why we're going to leverage the Edge and the Vercel combination.
But what do you mean?
Yeah. So this is where Edge and Vercel's features come in part. Before that, we would have discussed about the static site hosting and the Next.js part, right? We're just gonna explore that part more, and yeah. When we have that, Vercel is not the only providers over here who does this. There is also like Netlify, and there are lots of stuff. But Vercel comes with the Next.js support, and Sitecore has this more easy integration with Next.js and those stuffs. So on top of that, Vercel and the Edge comes up with the Edge network that provides us easy scaling ability. Ability to scale to infinity, and once the particular requirement, or as he said, the entire campaign is down over, we'll be able to come it down to 0. And then there is this, as is mentioned, it's a serverless platform with a built-in content delivery network. So what I mean, when we have a request, and from the browser, it will be routed to the nearest edge point, edge network. Yeah, that is like, Vercel also comes up with this edge, and Sitecore also comes up with the experience edge. When people use the term edge, right, you get confused. I mean, like, I got confused a lot. But this is Vercel's edge network, and from there, the request will be routed to an edge middleware, which then goes to the cache, and then from the cache, it again comes it up, and then from the cache, when there is this TTL, which is time to live kind of stuff, if it is crossed, and then it goes back to the actual resource, those stuff, and then finally they in turn back connect to a headless CM. Of course, you might not have understood everything related to this. That's the point, and that leads me to the next one, which is the actual flow. So this is the place where it gets more cool. The reason being, most of us here would have used XM Cloud. At least the early versions and the early editions of it. We have some features related to it, like the cloud, the deploy, the CLI cloud plugin, where you use the .NET cloud logins to connect and then deploy. Vessel and the Edge Network too have a similar stuff, and they have this CLI touchpoint and API endpoint as well, where once you have your code and everything done, checked in, you can leverage the CLI, or you can use the API endpoint, create a deployment, and once the deployment is created, it will be moved to a static storage, and then from there it will be to a deployment queue. In case of Vessel, they'll be using an AWS queue, and from that again goes back to the build container where the actual build happens. The reason why I say all this is when we say it's easy to scalable, of course, by the end of the day, we'll be just reaching out to the Vessel or the vendors or the correct team to do that. But behind the screen, what actually happens is this. This is the reason why I say Vessel or the related components is easy to scale up or easy to scale down. Once it goes to the build container and it builds, right? Just like how in XM Cloud we have the status being stored in during deployment, the logs and all those stuffs. There is an API endpoint which gives the status of the deployment, the logs and all those stuffs. And then finally, it categorizes the entire build components to those 4 types: the static storage, serverless functions, image optimizations, and edge functions. Of course, static storages are just static HTMLs, and image optimizations, like once we have all the images, we'll be optimizing them. We'll be, so that they can be easy to, fetch, the send, receive kind of FUD. And then there is the serverless functions and edge functions. That's really important. I know that most of us know what serverless functions are, and edge functions are more related to edge version of it. But
you must have spent 1,000 years writing all of these things. How did you have time for doing all this?
It's easy. We don't have to do anything.
But what about all this stuff then?
It's all managed by the SaaS provider. It's a SaaS, right? You're just going to consume. You don't need to do anything related to it. There is no. You don't need to set up a server for this. You don't need to set up a queue. You don't need to set up any. You don't need to spend any resources over it. You just consume it.
That sounds a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
Sounds a little bit crazy.
Just a couple of things. The serverless functions and edge functions, right? Serverless functions are just functions that run on a server, like a cloud. In case of AWS, it's the Lambda, and in case of Azure, we have the Azure functions, and it's basically a piece of logic that will be executed only when it is called. Edge also has the same. Edge is similar to serverless functions, but additionally, on top of that, there are like a couple of added advantages kind of thing. Serverless, they say for example, if you're in here in Malaga and you're making a request to a server that's in San Francisco, the actual compute takes place in San Francisco server where the serverless functions are hosted. The other way, in terms of edge versus edge network, the serverless functions, edge functions are deployed to the edge nodes, edge networks as well. Meaning, if I make a request from Malaga, and if the serverless function, the function is hosted in San Francisco, the request doesn't need to go there. It in turn goes to the nearest edge network where they have the same serverless functions included, and based on that response and the one that's cached, the request will be coming back. And finally, if all these steps will go back to the cache, and when there is a miss, meaning when there is a change in the entire thing, and then there comes this TTL, time to live, and when that scenario is reached, it again goes back to the original server only in that instance, and then it serves the same content again. And then the client request, it goes from the nearest edge locations and all those things.
Okay, that sounds a little wild. That you get all this stuff, but you didn't work for it? Well, what then, let's say, in our world, we've been through a number of Sitecore versions in this. We have this experience editor. The users, they're not really, they still like the content editor, and then meaning they have this hierarchical tree of working with things. Then we have, of course, the in-page editing thing. That's one of the things that Sitecore has really proven its point on for supporting the editors. What are you guys doing on those terms?
Okay.
Because that's I guess that's something where you need to get some work done.
Maybe we have a trick up sleeve for this as well. Pages, XM Cloud's pages. As most of us and most of our content authors editors are more used to the traditional way of developing contents with Sitecode, the tree structures and those stuff, they're still retained. We still have that. But at the same time, there are like a bit of complexities and like, less features, less, composable designs kind of stuff, which is the need of the hour and the way the industry is going to move forward. That's where the pages come in. It's a mix of that. It has all the latest capabilities, and then while retaining the core and the basics of the content editing experience of Sitecore. And I even have a demo. So when we have those pages, like we'll have the similar structures over there, the content and those stuffs, and then there is this new page editing experience, and it also comes up, I guess, your old way of doing it, the experience editor or the content editor that doesn't support the different views, the different mobile devices or the other devices views. I guess they don't have that, right? So with pages, you have those options, and at the same time, the more modern and the more need of the features components as well.
That looks pretty good. So that's in the product, or is that something you built?
No, it's everything is in the product. Yeah, I see the people here. I mean, like our folks are fighting. I mean, not fighting, are requesting for options to extend pages as well, and we may see that in the future as well.
Okay. All right. That looks pretty good.
So, to summarize, the old or the experience editor versions of the stuffs, and at the same time the new integrated version. And we have the additional, apart from the normal editing experience alone, it also provides an designing, and at the top it has that an consolidated view of personalization and analytics as well, the audience understandings of those.
So you have analytics and data collection and personalization.
Yeah.
But where were all the boxes and the reporting server and the data collection and the shards and the where was that?
It's all handled from SAS. It's as I said, right? It's a centralized hosting, and Sitecore handles it. We don't need to do a dedicated server. We don't need.
So you don't. Okay.
No, it's not required.
SAS. That's a little bit weird. Okay. I guess it can do something. Those things. What about the feature development element? For example, if we need to get some external data into the system, how are you handling that on the new platform? Because that's always it's all in a news agency. That's always one of the things that we work with all of the time. Of course, getting aggregated data and being this big aggregator of news sections and so forth. How are you thinking when you get a problem like getting a new resource into your system?
Yeah, just like when Bruce Wayne reaches out to Fox for new tools, right? And then
Yes.
he gets a new tool, new Batmobile. I do have a tool for that as well. And say, for example, I heard that our Horizon News, a new campaign you mentioned is running out, and they need a new endpoint for the recent news they've API endpoint they had, and we need to create some components for that and need to include them. I think I have a tool for that, XM Cloud components. And these are, of course, they mentioned yesterday, and there are like lots of people who are already that would have introduced you to this concept. It's an easy way. It's a direct way to integrate an external data source with XM Cloud, and straight away get started with creating the components based on those API endpoints. And
so you start by designing the code to build these interfaces? Or
No. You start by consuming the API straight away, mapping it to the fields, and...
What do you mean?
Don't have anyone for that. You just map you just create a data source, you map the endpoint, and as they mentioned, it supports both API endpoints and GraphQL endpoints, and if there is a sample JSON format, it does that too.
So yeah, I recognize that API.
Yeah, that's a new recent news endpoint which we need this for this campaign.
I was part of doing that. But didn't you have to create a client for it and map the data and in your C# type classes and data objects?
No. You just create the component, you set the component's data source, and then you map a particular field to the endpoints, the variable's endpoint, and then you have the component, which you can embed in the pages. I mean, the web pages and in the pages component as well.
Okay. So where's the C#?
There is no C#. There is no C#.
I'm not that old. Come on. You must be working in finance or something like that.
And that includes the different, it's not just the, text components or those stuffs. There are like, the additional other stuffs, like if you want to have the links, image, anything that comes out as a response from an endpoint, you'll be able to map it.
But I haven't seen you code anything yet.
There is no coding required for that. The only thing that needs is you need to consume them, and then you need to create a component, and then you need to...
So all low code, no...
No.
Okay.
There is no, deploying it to dev, testing it in dev. There is no deploying it to QA.
Is this, what are they, is that the composable thing? I heard that term.
It's a part of composable. Just require, fetch what's needed for what particular feature. Yeah.
That looks, but it's boring, isn't it? Really boring. Okay.
Yeah. To summarize again, with components, we'd be able to integrate the API endpoints, a GraphQL or API endpoints, and at the same time, we'd be able to, once we have, these are just data, right? We'll be getting the data from there. We can style them, we can design them, and then we'll be able to have it.
Okay. Then I'm going to put up a challenge for you. Because these things, as far as I get it, you don't really have a lot of control of things.
Actually, yes, that the components and those stuffs are, to be in this sync. It's not completely available yet in XMC. It's in progress. The development is there, and it will be released soon.
I'm going to get back to that for you, because now it sounds like you're on for an upgrade. No, but see, hey, we spend significant amount of time to build our DevOps. We have build pipelines where we create all our, and we have our environments with promotion between QA and production. We tear down the full environment and setting it up from scratch with infrastructure as code on our Azure tenant and so on. I guess you don't have a lot of control of your stuff, so I guess what do you do on those things?
Again, lots of boxes, and doesn't mean that I don't have a lot of control. With XM Cloud, we have the control we need, and we don't need to worry about the setting up this entire the build and release pipelines. So that's where the deploy part of XMC comes in picture. Just a sec. It has a separate, as you say, right, like we have the portal.xm cloud, Sitecore cloud and pages. This is deploy, where we can handle all the deployments. And for the new campaign and the new REST endpoints, the requirement was to spin up with a new environment. I'm not talking about a new feature or a new part of it. It's a new environment we need to spin up. And for that, all you need to do is click 3 or 4, 5 buttons. That's it.
But what about the servers and the...
As I said, it'll be provisioned as a part of the SaaS, and when we create these, when we click these buttons, and as it deploys, as it provisions the new environment, it takes care of those, the server, the computing, and all those stuff that's behind the screen on its own. I mean, from back.
So who's setting up the servers?
The Sitecore, I mean the entire process by a set of codes, the infrastructure and everything, it's managed by them. The Sitecore actually sets that up. The XM Cloud does that for you.
So you need to wait a few weeks before they got new servers set up and...
We need to wait, but not for a few weeks, for a few minutes. Yeah.
yeah, right.
And that's how it...
Is this saying 4 minutes?
Yeah. This one got completed in 4 5
and then we wait for a couple of weeks.
4?
4 weeks?
No.
4
Why do we
minutes?
need to wait? I mean, like, that's right. The environment is ready. The only thing the next we have to do is deploy the code to the environment, because when you spin up, it comes up with the base stuff. Where you may require to use any particular environment's code directly, or you may need to come up with your custom new build. So the next time, the only step we need to be doing is deploying the changes. There's no waiting.
Sounds a little bit silly. But then probably, then you have a standalone environment and hey, what do you then do when you need to promote from the environment? So taking the code from that, then what do you then do?
Again, click few buttons. So, as I said earlier, there are 2 ways. When we set up with the environment, we can map it to a particular, our repository, and we can map it to a particular branch, and then we can have an auto deploy whenever we make a commit or any PRs to our branch, or we can deploy a code from artifact from any particular environment.
You just created that environment, right?
Yeah.
So don't you need to do some release pipelining and mapping the systems and...
No, there is no need for a build pipeline or a release pipeline. We can all because we are already using the artifacts which it's there in dev. We just need to use the existing release pipeline with this new dev artifacts.
So it sounds like you're doing the same as we are, but you can't because it takes 4 minutes.
No. It's not. It's definitely not the same. I think like one would be really need to create your new release pipelines and new steps that's involved and all those steps. No, we don't need to create anything over here. We can leverage the stuff which is already here.
So somebody else did all the work for you?
Yeah.
I want your job. Okay.
To summarize up, again, with the XMC, it's easy to create environments on the fly. You don't need to set the new provision new servers, install all those stuffs. You can straight away set up an environment based on the existing components, and you can as I said again, the mapping either the branch which is already there to get any Git-based repositories, and or you can deploy it from artifacts from an existing environment. And apart from this, which I mentioned, the demo we had showed in the demo was more of the GUI part. But Sitecore also provides this cloud plugin, Sitecore CLI, which allows us to even further automate it for our requirements based on those plugin commands.
Okay, that sounds a little wild. But then I got the challenge. You said that the components thing,
Yeah.
it's not really ready yet, so you need to upgrade. So I'll tell you how we do upgrades here. So when we start a Sitecore upgrade, we always start by a feasibility study. We probably spend a week or so on actually figuring out whether it's worth it. We had some incidents where we were a couple of major versions behind or something like that, but that's, you need to get there at some point, of course. And then we built, we never do an in place. We always try to build a new environment, so we set up a new environment. That's why we have all the release and pipelines for building the infrastructure. We, of course, need to set up a team to do that. It normally takes a small month if we need to go a major upgrade on it. That getting a new component in sounds like a major upgrade for you guys. So, and then of course seeing Sitecore is not that stable with new features and removing some features and so on. So we need to make sure that we're not working on it. Get the code upgraded. Always new versions of .NET, of course, when working on that. And then depending on the feasibility, we sometimes end up in not wanting to do an in-place upgrade the databases, but actually do a fresh installation, fresh databases, and migrate the content instead of. That depends a little bit on say how large the gap between the two systems are. So I guess have you already started planning for the upgrade if you need to do that component to get that in on your system?
Upgrades. Planning.
Yeah.
I plan.
Oh, you young guys, you don't plan, or what?
No, you plan.
Okay.
The only thing which I say I would do is I think I can go to sleep, and I can wake up to a new version. That's the upgrade which I would say I would get. I do it this way with XM Cloud. We can actually go to sleep with version X, and you can always wake up with Sitecore version Y, while Sitecore they can do the upgrades for you.
So somebody else is doing your work?
No, it's the SaaS that automatically takes care of that work. Yeah.
So there's no real work involved in it, or there must be something involved.
I mean, like theoretically, what's mentioned over here is true. It would hold valid. But again, there is a two-part to this story. I mean, two-part to this particular stuff. When with XM Cloud, when we plan for an upgrade, there are like two components that are involved. I mean, like two sets of activities that are involved. The first thing is whenever there is an upgrade that happens, Sitecore first the XM Cloud does the upgrade from on a trial basis. Like it first does a mock run kind of thing, and when there is a failure, when there is an issue, you get an intimation to you whether that's failed. Only in those cases we'd be required to see what those issue is, but that's really what do you say? Not usual. It's not more common. It shouldn't be more common. And on the other hand, as I say, any upgrade would be a two-step thing. When Sitecore pushes with their upgrade, and at the same time, from the project end, our end, we'd be needing to publish our changes as well for the new upgrade, so that we have a seamless experience. And at the same time, if you could connect now with the first, the architectural, the stuff which I showed, the entire website the front end, the website, the actual www.horizonnews.com is powered by experience edge data and the static headless mode of application. Meaning, any changes, any upgrade, even if that breaks the authoring or the editing environment, it would not have an impact to the front end side, the final side. And
so you're saying you're not upgrading the site when you're upgrading Sitecore? But that can't be true. No, push. Thanks. I'm actually not working at that Horizon thing. But is it actually true?
Yeah.
Is it? I think both of us worked with technology for a while, but yeah, it is actually true, most of this. At least my part was true. I'm not sure about his. But I don't have a deep experience in XM Cloud yet. You spent some time during the last couple of months on researching, and it of course is true that SaaS makes a lot of issues to somebody else's problem. So scaling is as easy. Go talk to the Vercel guys down in at the partner booths. It is as efficient as that. I've used that Excel sheet for figuring out how many cores and what would the response time for our pages need to be able to sustain that. To go into the Sitecore tracing and looking at the components, seeing, I've done that. I probably have 15 different versions of that Excel sheet. But it is somebody else's problem when you get to that.
It may be a problem, but not our problem.
Yeah.
Somebody else's problem.
Yeah, and the pages thing, it looks really nice. I think it's a little bit a shame that they're not making it available. It's probably, they need a leverage to get people to get into the upgrade. So, but I see some red T-shirts. We need to go talk to them and have pages on the old. Yeah, Ken, you can take off your shirt, your black one on top. No, and the whole cloud ops that they did around the cloud portal, the environment spinning up, the containerization they're doing, that's really efficient. How many hours didn't you spend to create something like that on NoleXP here? That took a long time, trying to mimic something like that. And of course, they just stole it. But it is actually pretty stable, well thought out from what I can see of it. What's been your greatest experience in working with XM Cloud now? Where do you see the main strengths of it?
It's really quick to get started. Spinning up, be it spinning up an environment or setting up your local instance, and to do the actual work. Like I from a developer, a guy who develops features, I would spend a predominant amount of time in actually spending my efforts in the infrastructure stuffs, like setting the CI/CD pipelines and the servers, the environments, and all those stuffs. Of course, there can always be a debate between that's also a part of development, and that's also a part of a developer's work. Not just developing the features is a developer. That's a big debate, and I don't want to get into it. But yeah, it would provide us more time, and we can focus more of our efforts towards developing an actual feature rather than worrying about that. The months-long old servers, the components, and those kind of stuffs.
Cool. All right. I think we are done.
Yeah.
Good job, Push. I'm Klaus. I found some old screen. I don't know how many of you recognize there is a Sitecore 4 screenshot in there. That's where I started a long time ago. But I'm really looking forward to getting my hands dirty in in the new XM Cloud version of things.
And I'm Pushpangan. I'm again a community member. Been associated with Sitecore, and I've learned a lot of stuff through Sitecore. So that's it for me.
Cool. Thanks a lot, guys.
And